Guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Adacheke here, and as you have read on the caption, we are talking about accommodation. It's no longer news that accommodation is one of the major hurdles that immigrants face while coming into the UK. So follow me into this video and get my tips and tricks of how I was able to get my accommodation in 5 days. Yes, just 5 days. So number one tip is give enough details. Yes, when you go to this accommodation site, there are a lot of them will have Zopola, will have right moves, will have spare room, a lot of them. But that is not the issue. Going to the site is not the issue. Getting the accommodation is. So my number one tip is give enough details. Try as much as possible to sell yourself to this landlord. Yes, accommodation has become like a job application here in the UK, and you have to stand out in whatever you are trying to do for you to be able to get this accommodation. You don't just go to the house and just make your request. I'm interested in the house, or I need the house, or just one line or two lines statements about the house. No, give out as much as possible information as you can give. You can put up, I'm a postgraduate student, I'm coming alone, I'm living alone, I do not have pets, I do not smoke, I'm friendly, I'm clean, I'm ready to move in, I'm ready to pay. Whatever it is that you know that will sell you to this landlord, please try as much as possible to do what? Give that information in that first message that you are sending. This landlord are getting a lot of applications, and you don't expect them to waste so much time going to ask you what you should have given them already. Give them enough information so that once they see your application, they go through it, they know whether they are contacting you or they are not. Number two tips. The number two tip I have for you is search accommodations and apply for accommodations that are what? Suitable to you. What does this mean? Now, see what I mean. When you go to this accommodation site, some of these landlords explicitly says they do not want couples. Some say they don't want students. Some say they don't want kids. So now when you apply for this accommodation, please just don't try to cut corners. Yes, it might work for 1 out of 1,000 people. Just be favored to get accommodation, even when they say they don't want it, they finally give you. But in most cases, my dear, what you see on that site is what you get. If they say they don't want students on their accommodation, leave that accommodation and go to another one, so that you will not be there thinking that you sent out 20 applications out, while in the real sense of it, it might be 1 or 2 that is a suitable application. All other ones, you are not qualified for it. Yes. Then the third one I will have to tell you is read the information given on the site. Read the minimum time that you are supposed to stay, the maximum time you are supposed to stay, the deposit that is available to you, the all the information, whatever it is that they have given out as their information. Read it carefully so that you will know what you are bargaining for or what you are going in for. You look so unserious when at the end of the day, when the landlord finally communicates you so that you people will go to other processes, you will now start saying, I will stay for 1 month, I will stay for 3 months, when the person has already given that information that the minimum stay is 3 months, or the minimum stay is 6 months, or some of them minimum stay is 1 year, and you are looking for the accommodation and you want to stay for 6 months and you want to stay for 3 months. It doesn't make sense. Please read what are the terms of that accommodation, so that when the landlord finally communicates you, you will not start going back to what you should have been through with. Then the number 4 tip I'll give you is what? Search for landlord owned accommodation or home share owners instead of agents. Yes, these agents are into business, and their business is to bring the best candidates for their clients. But what we are looking at now is getting a fast accommodation. You might not be the best candidate, but you want accommodation. Yes, go directly to the landlord, go directly to these share home owners, like some people that put up their 1 room space in spare room for somebody to come in. Look for these accommodations and speak with this landlord directly. The way the message or the conversation is going between the both of you might trigger a liking to you, and all other things become history. The person becomes able to subpedal in some of these documentation. But when you meet these agents, they become so rigid. Some of them will start asking you for your 6 months pay slip, asking you for your former landlord address, email, why did you leave your former accommodation, and so many information that you might not be able to provide. Some will tell you that you should bring proof of address, UK proof of address, 2 UK proof of address, you should bring your right to work, you should bring your NIN, you should bring your PRP, all these things you might not have them available, and it will just delay the whole process. But when you meet the direct landlord, the owner of the house, and they explain your situation to the person, I am a student that is just coming in and all that, the person might be able to listen to you and give you the accommodation even when you do not meet all the... This tip now that I'm going to give is mostly for university students. If you are coming into this country for your postgraduate and you are single, you are not coming in with family, I will advise that you search out some of these organizations that are interested only in student accommodation. You can search out for Amber Student, you can search out for student living. Yes, student living helps one of my friends to acquire get an accommodation, and Amber is helping a lot of people. Search them out and chat them. You might be lucky enough to get something from them. Now there is one important point that I will make now. These important points I'm trying to tell you now is what? The power of what? Connection and networking. Yes, in this journey that you have started, you cannot do it alone. Some of you or some of us, the application process and everything was done by an agent, and finally you have been handed your visa. Now you are the one that are going to come into this country. You look for employment, you will settle down, you will survive, you will do a lot of things. If you don't belong to any WhatsApp group, you don't belong to any Telegram group, and by now, without forming the right connection and network, my dear, you are making a very big mistake. The first accommodation I got when I arrived in the UK, after settling into my Airbnb, 2 days later, I got accommodation. How did I get this accommodation? From a fellow student in a WhatsApp group who got 2 accommodation, decided to share out one. I went for viewing on that accommodation, being that I was already in Cambridge. After viewing the accommodation, I paid for this accommodation, but something happened along the line and it didn't work out again. My money was refunded, and about 2 or 3 days later, I got another accommodation, the present one I'm staying in, and I paid for it and moved in 5 days. I've already gotten my accommodation. Okay, many of those landlords that I sent out information to, up till today that I'm making this video, so many of them are still chatting me up, asking me if I'm still interested in the accommodation. What do? I go to the WhatsApp group and share out this information, and some people are chatting up this landlord, continue from where we dropped our discussion, and some of them are getting accommodation. So my dear, networking and connection is very, very important. Look for people of like minds, people that you can share information with. And you too, if you have something and information, you don't hide it, you give to people and they also give to you. That's how it works. When you are in this group, you become active and you become helpful to people, and people will find it very easy to help you when it comes to your own case. Then finally, I will say prayer. Yes, prayer is the key. My dear, whatever you do, you pray and also commit everything into the hands of God, that He will help you through the journey, help you through survival, help you through settling in. Get you people that will favor you in ways that you can never imagine. The favor of God can make a way for a man and make people that will not naturally listen to you start listening to you. So I hope I've been able to give you some few tips which will be helpful to you in your accommodation side, and someone who has just moved into the country, planning to move in, or still working through visa processes, so that when you are settling down, it will be easier for you. Thank you. If you have been with me to this moment, I thank you so much, and I pray that you subscribe to my channel so that we'll grow this community together. Thank you. So, bonus tip. Yes, on my bonus tip, I will say, if you have the funds available to you, offer to pay more. Yes, if you see that the accommodation, they put 1 month rent and maybe a deposit, and you know you have the funds available to you, you can offer for 3 months or 6 months rent. This also stands you out. Offer to pay more. They tend to give you the accommodation instead of giving it to others. Yes, so if you have the funds available to you, you can offer to the landlord. Like when you are putting up that your message, write that when you are putting up that your detailed message, also put in that you have 3 months rent to pay upfront, or you have 6 months rent to pay upfront. Yes, because sometimes why they don't actually give this accommodation to you is that you are just coming into the country, you don't have a credit score, you don't have a guarantor, you've not worked for some time, they know you don't have a work that you are doing, so they are afraid maybe giving you this accommodation might cost them, like after 1 month you might not be able to pay your rent again. So giving them this upfront or offer of paying more helps them more relax and be able to communicate to you. So if the funds is available to you, you can give this as an offer to them. It also help. So this is my bonus point, right? Yes. So okay, on cheap accommodation, on getting a cheap accommodation, the 2 tips that I have 2 tips for you, and the 2 tips are: the first one is, when you are looking for a cheap accommodation, you should also consider if you have enough time to be able to achieve that. So on cheap accommodation, the first one is that look out for houses that are, the listing on the website that you're looking for are more than 30 days. Okay, look at the trick here now. Here in the UK, accommodation are paid for weekly and sometimes monthly. So now, when a landlord or an agent or a home share owner won't list out a house for rent, they are trying to get people as soon as possible to come in and start paying the rent of that house. Now, when they list out a house and it stays above 30 days, that's 1 month, it means that they have lost about 4 to 5 weeks of rent and 1 month of rent for those that are collecting monthly rent, and nobody wants to lose money. So if you see houses that have long listing time, you see like 30, 40, 50 days, 60 days, 2 months, the house has been on listing and nobody has rented it, you can go for it. Yes, if you go for it, after having your discussion with the landlord and you are getting to an agreement, you ask for a discount. Now, you are the one person they are holding in 6 months, in six weeks, I mean to say, or in 30 days. Now they want to hold you. By all means, ask for a discount, and they might probably give you a discount, thereby getting a cheaper house than you would have gotten. Then secondly, you can look for houses or go to websites of houses that are owned by charity organization. Yes, you heard me, charity organization. Maybe you've heard of charity shops before, or you've not heard of charity shop. I'll still make a video on that. Now, you can get clothes and shoes and furniture from charity shop, but do you also know that you can also get a house from a charity organization? Yes, I said so. Some charity organizations are into housing and property. They are not into clothing and furniture. Yes, they get a house, refurbish it, furnish it, and rent it out to people on a discounted price. Yes, if you are getting the normal ranges of house for like 1,000, 1,500, the charity organization may come in and get the same range of house, the same location, the same furnishing and everything for like 700. Yes, there are 2 websites I have for you to check out. The first one is Simplicity. It's called Simplicity. I'll link it somewhere here. Go to Simplicity website and check for houses. The Simplicity is a charity organization, so they have houses they have on their listing. If you meet up with their requirement and their documentation, they can give you a house. Then second one is Optiva. You can also check out Optiva and know whether they have houses within your location. So you also know that this is location based. They don't have houses everywhere. So you might want to check and know if they have house in the city that you are residing. You can get cheaper houses from them. So these are my 2 points for getting a cheap house, and with other of my points, I hope I've been able to let you to the insight of accommodation, renting and housing in the United Kingdom, especially in Cambridge where I reside. And with these few tips, you can be able to find your own house and have a better settling down. Tell to your friends, spread the good news so that we'll be able to grow and reach more people. Thank you. Bye bye. See you in my next video.